What's good to the tribe? It's Wanaghi. Wanted to stop by and drop a clip off to you guys. But before we start, stop, hit the like button, and I appreciate you guys. I hope everybody's feeling safe, secure, and as healthy as can be. So in this clip today, we're talking about genealogy. Remember, genealogy is the key, survival is the key. And I know you guys remember the show Sister Sister with Tia and Tamara.
Who are you anyway? We know you're not really Barik Dalton.
Well, that's the beauty of these little computer friendships. You see, I can be anybody I want.
Good, well.
So this clip, and I want to say one thing too, when you do have siblings with the same parents, it makes it a lot easier for you guys to tag team and work out your genealogy a lot faster. Make sure you guys are working together to knock it out fast. But we were talking a couple videos back about Apprentice, and it's crazy to see it pop up again. One thing about it, as quote unquote blacks, African Americans, Negroes, whatever you want to call yourself, we do a lot of lookership. And just by looking at the twins, you would think they were African American fully, or you would say they were African American. You wouldn't say they were from the islands or something like that, but they are. Their ancestors are from the Bahamas. Their ancestors were owned by the British. And one thing about the British in the Bahamas, they kept records of their slaves. They even wrote the names of the slaves down, which is very hard for us to find in North America. But that's the difference. Maybe for people in the Bahamas, it's easier for you to be able to get those reparations and be able to prove your ancestors or relatives were these actual slaves on these farms or plantations. But I want you guys to listen to the clip and listen to it closely. It's a lot of gems in this clip, and it's crazy because Gates and them always seem to put out what people need to hear on these little small clips and try to hide the rest of the video and make you pay for it. Which I watch the whole videos anyway, but they give you the dominant clips when you're watching these on your Find Your Roots. But let's get it.
Biracial. I have blood that started it, and then I have blood that was enslaved by it.
Actor Tamara Mori came to fame alongside her twin sister Tia Mori in the hit sitcom Sister Sister. Their roots stretch back generations in the Bahamas. And hidden within those roots was a poignant story. Tamara's third great-grandmother, a woman named Margaret Roll, was born around 1830, when the Bahamas were part of the British Empire, with an economy driven by slave labor. Searching for evidence of her life, we discovered that Margaret was a victim of that economy.
Return of slaves on the 31st day of July, 1834. Number 136, Margaret Raleigh, age 9 years and 7 months. Black, Creole, field laborer on owner's land. Wow.
What's it like to see a 9-year-old child listed as a field laborer on an official document?
You know, when you're that young, I know my kids, you want to protect them, you want them to keep that innocence.
Yeah.
But for Margaret, that did not exist.
That innocence was long gone.
Yes.
Slavery was abolished throughout the British Empire the year that this document was recorded. But Margaret's life likely didn't change much, at least not at first. The law that freed her also established an apprenticeship period. 4 years during which formerly enslaved people had to work for their former owners with no pay. So Margaret was likely at least 13 years old before she was able to truly experience emancipation.
Let me ask you this. What do you think Margaret would have made of you?
She'd be proud.
Oh, no question. She would be proud.
But you just feel, so, she had to go through that.
Yeah.
As a child. I wonder what she did to escape her current situation.
Right. Mm-hmm.
What were her thoughts of hope?
What's her flights of fancy?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then to, finally be free. And what that felt like. That first breath.
Mm-hmm. And she was old enough to be conscious of.
That's, yes.
I was this,
and now there's
that.
this.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just that moment of,
There is a grace note to this story. Records show that Margaret was enslaved by a British baron named John Roll, which links her to a very significant event in the history of the Bahamas. In 1830, enslaved people on Roll's estate rose up in what became known as Pompey's Revolt. Though they didn't win their freedom, the rebels won some concessions, and their actions lived on in memory, providing inspiration and hope to generations.
So, now think about this. Your third great-grandmother, Margaret, was born on Roll's plantation just 4 years earlier in 1825, so she would have been alive when that rebellion
Yes.
took place. By extension, there's a chance that Margaret's parents,
Yes.
your fourth great-grandparents, unnamed, still lived on the plantation and may very well have
Yeah.
taken an active part in these events. But what's it like to learn this, to think that your ancestors lived through this important moment in the history of the Bahamas? This is like Nat Turner's rebellion.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
So that was the clip. Definitely a good story on genealogy, going back on your ancestors. Remember, I asked, do you have any apprentice in your family? Are there any apprentice that your ancestors were? Are you from the Bahamas? Are your ancestors? Definitely go back on these records. Definitely see what's going on. Ancestral DNA is not going to give you the whens and the wheres and the hows and the whos of what went on in our story. Genealogy is. But I love you guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, definitely share. You mess with me, definitely support the channel. Feathers up, tribe up, wise up, rise up.
I don't mean to be rude or anything, but you're white.
Most people pick up on it. Look, Tamara, there is a simple blood test that can prove for certain that I'm your father.
What are you talking about? I don't need to take a test to know who my real dad is.
Tamara, there is a simple blood test that can prove for certain that I'm your father.
What are you talking about? I don't need to take a test to know who my real dad is.
Tamara, there is a simple blood test that can prove for certain that I'm your father.
What are you talking about? I don't need to take a test to know who my real dad is.